Hi, everyone. Thank you very much. In the last 45 odd minutes, I've got, I don't know how many, several hundred messages checking on my health. As you can see, I'm still very weak, but definitely better. The last few days haven't been very good. Uh, from Saturday morning, things started to get really bad. Had high fever, did two COVID tests. The last result came about an hour and a half back. And the moment it came, I informed all of you. And by the way, this was both RT-PCR tests. One was done on Saturday, one was done on Tuesday. Both have come negative. So now one can absolutely certainly say that this was a viral fever. By the way, I don't have fever now. I'm still having difficulty in talking, but that's because of the weakness, which will also go in time, is what I understand. Okay, so the reason I wanted to come to you, over the last few days, several of you, I don't know how many, asked me what is the deal with Rohit Sharma and Ishant Sharma. What's going on? So, and by the way, let's also sort of break it down in media reports. There's a report in one of the cricket websites in Cricinfo, which said yesterday, which said they will miss two tests. There was a report in PTI. There was a report in Mumbai Mirror. There was a report today in TOI, which corroborated the two test issue. So every media house and every journalist, has been on this issue and sort of has given us updates. And it's important because these are two very, very important players. So what's the real deal? What is going on with Rohit Sharma and Ishant Sharma? And what is the status update on this matter? What is the truth? Are they actually going to play the tests? Okay, I thought I got disconnected there. I hope you can hear me. So the question that I was trying to answer to all of you is about Rohit and Ishant, saying if they will go, when will they go? Will they at all go? What is the exact status as we speak? What is Rohit and Ishant's fitness update? What is the team management's thought? Because there are also quite a lot of social media posts which have taken this issue to be a divisive one between the team management and Rohit, particularly. It's basically the whole Virat versus Rohit issue. Let me one by one give you the real status update on this matter. Okay. Question number one. Is this something to do with Virat versus Rohit? Absolute nonsense. If it was to do with Virat versus Rohit, there was no way that Virat, Rohit would have been picked in the test team. By the way, Rohit himself had opted out from the white ball series. Let's put it on record here. So Rohit himself had opted out from the white ball series and wanted to play the test series and was picked for the test series. So there's nothing to do with politics that the team management doesn't want him. Any team, any team will want Rohit Sharma and Ishant Sharma, by the way, because Ishant Sharma and Rohit Sharma are critical for any team's welfare on an alien away tour. Okay, so that's point number one. So today, if Rohit and Ishant were able to make it, would the team management say yes? 100% yes, because let me put it this way: I have spoken to the team management, and I'm putting it on record. I have spoken to sources, I have spoken to people in the know. There is nothing between in terms of politics here. So why did the other question is, did Rohit want to play the red ball series? Why did he not travel with the team? That is another question that is doing the rounds. The reason Rohit did not travel with the team, firstly, Rohit came back to Mumbai because with the Mumbai Indians team because his father had COVID. Okay, so that is the reality. And obviously he went back to Bombay. And after that, if he did not want to play the red ball series, there was no reason for him to travel to the NCA. And he could have easily stayed back with Ritika and the family in Bombay and enjoyed the fruits of success of the IPL and not travel to the NCA. So there is absolutely no reason to say that Rohit did not want to play the red ball series. Why did he not travel? The reason he did not travel was because his father had COVID during the finals of the IPL. Okay, so that's the background. Now, where are we? Ishant Sharma is slightly ahead of Rohit Sharma in terms of fitness. So let's put it this way: Rohit's about 75 to 80% fit. Ishant is about 85% fit at this point in time. So, what is the deal? What's the problem? The problem is that at this point in time, because Rohit and Ishant were not on the team flight, which went from a safe zone, i.e., a bubble in Dubai, to a bubble in Australia, they will be flying in from a non safe zone. They will be flying in a commercial aircraft. They will have to undergo 14 days of hard quarantine. Now, what does a 14-day hard quarantine mean? It means you cannot step out of your room. Simple as that. So, what has then transpired? Breaking it down for you, Rahul Dravid has written a letter. Rahul Dravid, as the head of the NCA, after examining both, has written a letter to the chairman of selectors, to the head coach, to everybody in the BCCI, outlining the way forward for both of these cricketers to be match fit. Now, in that, a certain time frame has been specified as to what they need when they go to Australia. Now, if they travel to Australia today, they will need to be doing physiotherapy and rehab for close to 15 odd days. Now, the fact is, they will need that particular amount of time in Australia on the park to be able to recuperate. Unfortunately, because they will go from a non safe zone, what is considered a non safe zone, they will not be given the opportunity to train under current rules and they will have to serve 14 days hard quarantine. That means that they will go to Australia and then they will be confined to their rooms. So if they go today, they will be confined to their rooms for the next 15 days, which is till the 10th of December. And then if they take 3 weeks to recover, which means end of the month, which means they will automatically miss the first two and the third test also, because you cannot, not two tests, because you cannot just get ready end of December or maybe first couple of days in January and say, I will play a test match without a single day's practice. You can't. No one can. So that is the reason. So it is not about missing two tests. It is about the problem that we are now facing is the 14-day hard quarantine. So it's either they miss all. So I'm making this very, very clear. Either they miss all, or something has to happen which changes things all round. So it's not about two tests. They will, if it's that whole issue of two tests, they will miss all. So forget that report. That report is not correct. They will not miss two tests, they will miss all if they miss the two tests. So what is the solution to that? And if there is a solution at all, or is this matter now a closed matter? So from Rohit's standpoint, every other option was given, that can he even go to Dubai, do a 7 week isolation there and Ishant and then fly in? Can somehow sort of they can go from there? Unfortunately, Australian rules do not permit anyone flying in from any part of the world considered a non safe zone to not undergo 14 days of hard quarantine. And that is the established ground reality at this point in time. Now, day before yesterday, from what I know, there have been back channel talks that have started between the BCCI and Cricket Australia. Now, here comes the real catch. And why is this matter not closed? I hope I have answered your questions. that what is the status at this point in time, that Rohit and Ishant, because of the 15-day hard quarantine. Okay, the other option was that they get fit at the NCA, say till about the 10th, 11th December, and then they travel. Even then, even then, the BCCI's rule doesn't. For Ishant, for example, where is the tour game that he's going to get? He won't get that game. Can he make a comeback without playing a tour game? The BCCI has a rule for fast bowlers has to play a tour game, and that's a problem. So this two test thing doesn't really apply. So because of the 14-day hard quarantine, they will probably, if that applies to them, they probably stand to miss the full tour. So what is the solution to that? And if there's a solution, the solution is back channel talks have started, and serious talks between the heads of the BCCI, the president, speaking to his counterpart in Cricket Australia, requesting that this hard quarantine be changed to what was allowed for the rest of the boys. As in, if Rohit and Ishant Sharma are allowed to train when they reach the Australian shores and clear the COVID tests, like the Indian boys were allowed to train during quarantine, they will follow every protocol. But if and Nick Hockley is what I'm told is supposed to come back to the BCCI on behalf of CA with a final answer that can CA. By the way, this has to be a political call. It's not CA's call either. They'll have to speak to the New South Wales political establishment that can Cricket Australia at BCCI's request, speak to the local political establishment and get the quarantine rules, the hard quarantine rule changed to what was allowed for the Indian cricket team and the Australian cricketers who flew in from the bio bubble in Dubai. That formal request has been made. I'm putting that on record. That formal request has been made by Saurav Ganguly and the BCCI to their counterparts in Cricket Australia. And they are awaiting response from Cricket Australia as to what they say to that formal request. If that formal request is granted, that yes, Rohit and Ishant can go, and once they clear their COVID tests, they can get into training, then obviously this entire situation changes. And if they are allowed to train, then that 15-day period that they will train will fulfill the requirements that Rahul Dravid has pointed out in his letter, that these two require to get fully fit. Okay, so it all hinges on what the BCCI has now said to Cricket Australia, that if they are able to convince the local political establishment and get these two boys special permission to go there and while in quarantine train, that's it. If that is done, then the whole scenario changes, and they are awaiting a response. And let me tell you, I've spoken to the BCCI multiple times to understand what they think. They are also awaiting a response from Cricket Australia. So is Rohit Sharma, so is Ishant Sharma, so is the Indian team management. If Cricket Australia is unable to get the excuse me, as you guys can see, I'm not particularly well, so pardon me. If BCCI is unable, or rather, if Cricket Australia is unable to get these two guys the permission to train during quarantine because of the hard quarantine rules, then I am sorry to say their Australian tour is not going to happen. I will be very, very, very surprised if then the tour happens. Not two tests, not two tests. Whichever platform, whoever journalist tells you that, not happening. Anyone can tell you that no, 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 third test, fourth test, sorry, not happening. The only way Rohit Sharma and Ishant Sharma will make the Australia tour is if BCCI can convince CA, or rather, if CA can convince the local political establishment of New South Wales to allow these two cricketers, Rohit and Ishant, to train when they travel down under. Okay, and they are trying every bit. Now, coming to the Virat versus Rohit question, for God's sake, don't read anything like that into this. It has nothing to do with it. It is not upon the team management to say, come, come, come. It is not upon Rohit Sharma to get on, jump on a flight and say, okay, you know what? I've packed my bags now, tada, bye bye, I'm going. No, 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 no. It's not that at all. This is a different world. Think Virat. Now, in normal circumstances, if Virat Kohli would have come back to India for his child's birth, after birth, he would have gone back. Why can't he go back? He can't go back because he also has to serve a 15-day hard quarantine because he will be flying in from a no safe zone. That is why his trip will also be over after the first test. The same problem with Rohit. Now, coming back, एज आई टोल्ड यू सेवरल पीपल आस्क्ड अरे रोहित को तो पहले चला जाना चाहिए था रोहित को तो आईपीएल के बाद टीम के साथ चला जाना चाहिए था रोहित couldn't go or did not go because his father had covid. एज अ रिजल्ट उनको वापस आना पड़ा, मुंबई वापस आना पड़ा। उसके बाद 2 टेस्ट क्लियर करने के बाद उन्होंने एनसीए ज्वाइन किया। एनसीए में उनका रिहैब अभी भी चल रहा है। और मैं आपको ये कह सकता हूँ रोहित शर्मा बहुत जाना चाहते हैं और टीम मैनेजमेंट भी उनको बुलाना चाहते हैं। मैंने टीम मैनेजमेंट से और रोहित शर्मा से बात किया है, बीसीसीआई से भी बात किया है और मैंने आपको पूरा अपडेट, पूरा डिटेल दे दिया। सो लास्ट 3 पॉइंट सम अप करके ये ब्रेकिंग अपडेट खत्म करता हूँ। नंबर 1, एक ही चीज पे डिपेंड कर रहा है रोहित और ईशांत का ऑस्ट्रेलिया टूर, वो है बीसीसीआई का रिक्वेस्ट टू क्रिकेट ऑस्ट्रेलिया। क्या वो क्वारंटीन रूल्स के थोड़ा अदल बदल करके, लाइक व्हाट दे डिड विद द इंडियन टीम एंड द ऑस्ट्रेलियन प्लेयर्स हु प्लेड द आईपीएल, will these two players be allowed to train during quarantine? If they are, that fulfills their NCA requirement and will get them closer to fitness. If that happens, then they definitely can be a part of the series. If the quarantine rules, the hard quarantine rules are not changed, now you can say the political establishment has said no because of whatever reason, because it's the government rule, it's a country rule, it's a state rule, whatever rule. So if that is the answer that the Australian Cricket Board comes back with, Nick Hockley comes back with, that's saying no, we can't change this around, then in that case, I don't see Rohit and Ishant making that trip. So that's the update at the moment. That's the update at the moment from me. So I will keep coming back to you. As I said, uh, I, 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 I mean, I wanted to give you the exact detail, exact update as to where we are, what is happening with the process. If you ask me, give it another 24 hours because I'm expecting the BCCI to come up with some kind of an answer from Cricket Australia, whether it will be allowed or not allowed. So fingers crossed for Rohit and Ishant. They want to play, the team management wants them there, the BCCI wants them there, India wants them there. This is a very different world. It's not a normal world. Had it been a normal world, different matter. That's all from me. I will keep coming back. Wish me a quicker recovery. And hopefully, we will keep joining you on Sports Today, like we always do. Thank you very much for watching.